Okay, just waiting till it's 8 o'clock, and it's 8 o'clock. Hi, it's Chava Abramovitz, back, I think, for the third time at OKclarity, and I'm talking today about ketamine assisted trauma processing. It's really an amazing thing. Every time I learn something more as a therapist, I have like, wow, this is the thing that if I put together with that I've been doing, it goes. It's double the energy. It's the synergy of two things together. And this summer, I've been learning and practicing an additional level of working together with psychedelic substances that I want to share tonight. It's about doing therapy, not preparing and then having that silence on your own medicine experience, the journey, the trip, and then processing it after. It's about doing the work of trauma healing in vivo, in the session that you're having the journey or the medicine dosing. So the idea sounds like, yeah, sure, but in practice, this isn't how the research was done on psychedelics. Not ketamine, cannabis, psilocybin, MDMA, LSD, or ayahuasca. It was done in a very controlled, regimented, with ketamine, for example, 6 sessions, this long, this much time in between, this is the dose, and here's what we're going to prep. We're going to set the intention and the setting and all the things a person needs to be comfortable, and then they're going to come in and do their dosing or do it at home, and then the next day they're going to have their integration session, and maybe it'll be 2 or 3 integration or 4 sessions afterwards. But when they feel like they've processed the stuff that came up, then they're going to go and do another medicine journey, another trip. So this idea of bringing it all together, doing therapy while you're having the medicine experience at a very low dose, is putting together everything that I've been doing as a therapist the past 10 years and really doing it in the right order. So I have a few notes I'm going to keep referring to because otherwise I'm just not going to get to everything. So before I start, there were a few questions that came up. One was, how long does ketamine stay in your system? Is it more than a day or two? And the answer is not even a day or two. Within the amount of time that you're no longer sedated, just like if ketamine was given in an IV to put a person to sleep for surgery, when it's out of your system, you're good to go. You'll be more groggy, you'll be more lethargic, you shouldn't operate machinery like drive a car or anything, but it's out of your system when it feels like it's out of your system, and it's usually not more than 2 hours. Another question that was asked was, can ketamine mess with my hormones or monthly cycle? So the answer that I can offer you is, in everything I've read and learned over the past year and a half, I've never heard that mentioned. I'll tell you what can mess with your monthly cycle and your hormones: stress, cortisol pumping, adrenaline pumping. These are the things that really mess with people's systems. So if you're doing ketamine or any psychedelic carefully, with proper time in between the doses and not in blowing you out of the water huge amounts repeatedly, giving yourself time, food, water, rest, to really take care of your body, because you are putting a chemical, you are putting a substance into it. But so are vitamins, so is Tylenol and, flu shots and everything else that goes into our body, including the food we eat. It's all chemicals. So like anything else, in moderation, measured, supervised. If it's something you don't know what it is, which most people are not that familiar with psychedelics and how to use them and mix them with other medicines they're taking and other lifestyle things, if they've got a heart issue, if they have schizophrenia or bipolar or a number of different things, there's safety in doing things the right way. And slow and steady wins the race. It's an old saying, but it's true. The biggest thing I see in therapy and in life, and the biggest complaint people have is, it was too much. I know somebody did this XYZ drug and they're psychotic now, and they've never been the same since, and they went and got divorced afterwards because they went to therapy. Okay, that's all hearsay. If you want to know what the problem is, it's that we need inner resourcing. We need to have a base of security, stability, comfort, have our needs met. We can't do too much, too soon, too fast. And that's what happens. So what I've been learning and practicing and seeing amazing success in trauma healing, that's what I'm focusing on, has been in going slow and preparing. And that means before a person starts adding in a chemical, a medicine, they need to really be focused on what are their resources, what's their base. So at the bottom of the pyramid is mindfulness. That means you've got to be able to control your thought patterns to some minimal degree, whether it's through yoga or listening to a recording or doing something that reminds you of something, or an intentional song, music, or something where you can bring yourself back to, I'm in control of myself. That's required. So first we make sure when someone comes in that they can attain some state of mindfulness. That's so easily attained by saying, tell me something about your five senses, something from each sense. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you feel on your head? What do you feel on your bottom of your feet? What color is the wall? What do you have for breakfast today? Basic stuff is, here I am in this body, in this place, in this room, in this year, and this is where I am. And it brings you away from the memory of the past, away from the anxieties of the future, and just here. Then I'm going to want to know that the person I'm with can resource. What does resourcing mean? It means they can access a memory. They can hold on to something that is an anchor, something that's going to make them feel connected, safe, solid, something they can return to, and it'll keep them from drifting too far out of the mindfulness, the state of being present and safe, and doing what they're doing intentionally, not allowing their mind, once they do put a medicine in, not allowing their mind to be afraid it's just going to go somewhere, because they can be in charge of their mind and they can redirect it, and they know they're with a therapist who can help them do that. Then we want to be able to open up the person to what else is going on. When you're having that memory, a lot of trauma memories are these very narrow focus. Something you heard, what you saw happen in front of you, just the feeling of terror. And when a person can widen their area of focus, even just when they're talking about an old memory or a relationship that's real hard for them, when they can notice what else is going on, what happened when you were a kid when that happened, what happens now, how do people react, how else have you reacted, and when they can pull out some strength, a resource of an action or an object or a person or a thought that, or even, a place of prayer where they're really connected, that is something they can bring in and help them re-anchor, reconnect to their core self that they accessed at the beginning when they were mindful. When they said, what am I doing here? Who am I? Why am I here in this room? Why am I sitting with you? Why am I doing this thing that I don't know where it's going to take me? And they remember, because I have intentions. I want to live in the present, and I'm tired of my past just jumping in and hijacking me to a place that doesn't even exist. It exists in my mind, and now I'm going to bring my mind back to right here. So all this stuff I'm talking about is before we do any medicine, because a person needs to be able to interact, to go from a state of I'm not comfortable here to a state that they can recall at will of I'm comfortable, I'm in charge. Even what I'm remembering, even the grief from a loss, even the fear of something that's coming up, I still am right here, core, strength, focused, and grounded. And I know I've got such and such resource, and the therapist with me can remind me of that. So the ability to test out by having them share with me a small bit. Tell me about an incident. Tell me about something that really triggered you, and then stop. And before you even let yourself get triggered, go back, drop the anchor, return to the mindfulness, go back to that strength, that person, or those words you said, or that ability you have to define what you need and speak up for yourself, or run away, whatever that strength is, and to be able to widen and know what else is going on here. Oh yeah, I'm just getting triggered. I'm not that kid. I'm not that young adult. I'm the person now that says, this is what's happening, and that's not what I want to be doing. And I've got all these strengths to do. So to do that in. So when we can go into, when we test out this ability to go into a difficult memory, a sadness, a pain, a fear, whatever it is, and then bring ourselves back in the conversation, in the relationship with me as I'm working with you, then I know that you can go into a medicine experience and journey with a little less inhibition, which is what cannabis, ketamine, or anything else that's legal, and as it becomes legal, I'll be working with different substances, where they're going to take you. And as they take you there, when we start a dosing session, you gain the ability to say, oh, that's what happened, that's what went on, and you're not so afraid to go look into it, because you've got the grounding, you've got the ability to go in and look, and then come back and say, yeah, that's what that felt like, and what kind of strength do I bring myself that's having that memory? What kind of strength do I bring into this memory to change it? And what does that feel like in my body? And what's really changing a lot of this for me as a therapist is using sensory motor psychotherapy, somatic work, really helping a person tune into what they're thinking and feeling based on increased awareness of what their body's doing. What's your body telling you? Because when you click into the energy that your body, the fear, the shaking, the holding your breath, the tightness, the your shoulders, your hands, your legs, you want to move, you want to get up. When you tap into that, you realize, oh, that's what my body's telling me. Is that where I am right now? Is that accurate? And you can do this going in and out, and noticing and experiencing, and saying, I want to experience where I am now. I'm an adult having this memory, and I've got resources, and I've got these places I can go, and the people that can help me remember that that's who I am, and bring that into the experience and say, this is what it's like now. Hey, my chest isn't so tight. I'm not holding my breath anymore when I think about that. And that is kind of like the spot we can turn on. When we can begin a dosing session at a place where we know there is a memory, we know there's an event that triggers us. And we also know that when we are going to get to that place in the dosing, because we're going to open up to where we want to open up. And when we do therapy during dosing, we do really low amounts. If it's ketamine, it's under 100 milligrams. You don't ever want to do it where you can't move and you can't verbalize and you're not really, aware of your body. You want to be able to keep interacting, and you want to be able to keep talking. In general, we don't need to put on music or an eye mask, but you can if you want, but you want to be present. You don't want to just go somewhere. That's great, but you want to integrate being the person you are now, having these experiences come up, and being able to say, hey, that's what it was. Right now, I am so connected and safe, and I'm able to express and feel those feelings that I don't need to tell myself that I can't breathe anymore, that my chest is tight, that I can't talk, that my voice is gone, or that I need to run out of here. You can notice your body is doing that thing that it did when the trauma happened, and then you can notice, okay, that's not what's going on right now. Now I'm sitting in the office with Chava, and she's reminding me that I'm breathing. And breathe into that and feel my muscles react to the moment, and they relax, and they say, yeah, I'm noticing that's what it was, and that's not what it is. And being able to experience the trauma and then being able to experience what it is now in real physical terms, that is the healing. That is like having a relational experience where you're expecting someone to, jump down your throat and yell at you because you did something without asking them that you wanted to do. And you're expecting the worst and you're braced, but you know what? That's not who that person is. That's who you thought she was. That's who it reminds you of when you do something on your own without asking permission. It reminds you of when you got shamed or blamed or criticized or laughed at. So you're on guard, and then you find out, hey, that person's totally fine, and you relax. So that's what this is. This is bringing yourself to a place where you say, hey, that's what it was, but I'm feeling an actual relaxation. And you're on a medicine journey too, so your body really is more relaxed, and you say, this is what it is. I can dip in and dip out. I can notice it and feel it, and I'm actually having the live experience of it not bothering me so much anymore. Using the senses, weaving in this experience of what my body and my emotions and the relationship between the person that's with me in the therapy room and myself, to notice what that feels like, that it's okay to be seen and you're not being laughed at or hurt or criticized, allows you to anchor it in the physical emotion you're having now. And next time when you leave therapy and you go thinking about it that night, the next day, it's not going to be like, wow, I went through this traumatic thing in therapy and I'm still reeling from it. And, I need to calm down from that. That was so heavy. No, it's going to be more like I gently went in, I had an experience, and I can take it with me and I can go into that memory and know it's not this big scary thing anymore. So that to me is such an amazing resource, because so many people I hear about had great, wonderful things happen in therapy, but so many are hurt, so many are overwhelmed, or they get into it and then their 45 minutes is over and it's like they're walking out so raw and they don't know what to do with all that stuff. It's too much, too fast, too deep, and this is really about having a corrective experience in a relationship, in your body, in your mind, controlling it, and your feelings follow. I don't remember how to get any comments. If anybody is commenting, let me see. No questions yet. Okay, nobody did. So I want to go through some of the things. We talked about dosing. It stays low and slow. If it's cannabis, it's very low. And cannabis is a psychedelic. It's a different family of psychedelics than psilocybin or MDMA or LSD, but it is. And people use cannabis for lots of things, we know. But actually having the opening, the relaxing the effects where you're still in control and knowing what you're doing and being intentional about what you're thinking about and what you're opening up to with a real low dose is a very different experience. A person can have an experience with a psychedelic that they never had before in therapy. They can have an experience with psychedelic that they use to party or that they just use for recreation and be blown away that if you set an intention and you're completely, by choice in control of a safe environment that's there supporting wherever you're going to go, there's physical support, there's emotional, we stay very aware of the spiritual meaning, not into bringing all kinds of talking about substances as, the medicine will tell you, the plant will take you where you want to go. I really understand that most of us have a spiritual connection, a higher power, and that's where we're going, and that's what's taking us where we go. Everything else is just a medium to get there. You drink water because you need to be hydrated. You sleep because your body needs rest. You take a medicine to feel better. You use a psychedelic to move you from here to there. And there's no need to ascribe any spiritual, bigger, power to it. I don't really want to talk about MDMA or psilocybin assisted therapy because it's really different than the things that are legal right now in New York State. It's many more hours, and it goes up and down in waves of experience and time and how we interact with it. So it's being done. Other people do it, and it's just not something that I'm doing right now. An important part, just because we're talking about using the dosing session for therapy and allowing yourself to maybe remember things you don't normally, or maybe you normally do remember these traumas, but you don't remember that part of it, that emotion that came with it. Your body protected you. So talking as you're going through the experience in a certain way can be distracting when you're trying to put on a mask and listen to music and just let yourself go with a particular intention. But you're there and you're rewiring, you're reliving an experience in a relationship with yourself, your present self, and with the therapist. And that creates a new way of being. It's not just, okay, I'm going to have this trip and then we're going to talk about it tomorrow and try to integrate it. You've already integrated it. So yeah, we have a follow-up session. Yeah, we talk about it. Yeah, you still have to take it easy and support yourself well the next day. You don't just go back to your, running around, hectic, busy life. For these things to take an effect, the body has to stay in a state of being able to take care of itself and focus. The medicine isn't still in your body. With cannabis, it takes much longer to, ketamine's out of your body within a few hours. Cannabis has, depending on how much a person ingests, takes much longer to get out, but it has an effect. It's not still there, but the chemical change allows yourself, if you stay in a frame of mind to support it and deepen it, it has the ability to allow you, okay, I'm going to start living through that lens that I experienced during that therapy session that I was dosing. I'm going to try to do that again. I can go back to my anchor. I can be sitting at my desk or working at my job or in the car and be totally stressed, triggered, full of anxiety to the max, and say, hold on, where's that core? Where's my body? Let me connect. What's my breathing feel like? What's going on with my jaw? What am I holding? What am I connecting? Where's my strength? And we can reconnect to ourselves. It's really just an amazing experience that isn't scary. There's a lot of scary, unregulated, and uninformed use that I see going on with psychedelics. That's scary. People that don't know what they're doing, mixing and prescribing and doing what their friend did and putting stuff in their body that, well, it's supposed to be good, so more is better, right? And it gives, a lot of pain, a lot of damage, and it gives what is a measured type of medicine healing, it gives it a really bad reputation. So I'm here if anyone wants to ask questions, ChavaAbramovitz.com or cacoretherapy@gmail.com to ask questions. I'm in Muncie. I am seeing people on an appointment basis when I can put it in. It's a really busy month, Tishrei coming up, and I am really just psyched to be able to offer something that's the deepest kind of work I've done with therapy, and it's the easiest. It flows, it's safe, it's comfortable. There aren't experiences of people doing this work because it's so low and slow in the dosing and in the experiencing, and so much prep work of grounding that people are really not having bad experiences. It's not something you could do yourself because, it's you're the one who's vulnerable, and you need someone else to keep you focused on what you need and taking care of your needs when you do get triggered. But it's really exciting. It also allows me as a therapist to bring in hypnosis and IFS, EMDR, and different things that are taught as separate modalities, but to be able to be in an open, receptive place and bring in a concept from a different modality, and it just all goes together. That's great. It's really rewarding, and I think we need some sobering, grounded, regulated, supervised use of psychedelics. So right now it's, kind of the Wild West, and everyone's doing what they're doing and discovering what they are, good or bad. And I feel really privileged to be able to offer this, not new, but new to us, way of interacting with our deepest needs and in our deepest resources with something that's pretty easily accessible, not that expensive, and it's a safe way to grow. And I love being part of people's process. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Good night.